Welcome student. In today's class we are going to study the unit number 4, um, plant breeding. In that we are going to study introduction to plant breeding. First we are going to see the definition of plant breeding. Plant breeding is an applied branch of botany which deals with the improvement of agricultural crops. This branch of agricultural science has contributed maximum to the increase in food production all over the world, and therefore nowadays it assuming ever increasing importance in field of agriculture in every country. Then next definition we are going to see. Plant breeding is a branch of biology concerned with changing the genotype of the plant so that they become more useful. The food grain production of India has increased from 54 million tons to 206 million tons. As a result of this, the nation has become almost self sufficient in food grains. This thing is achieved only due to a green revolution has took place in 1965 to 66. Green revolution in our country, particularly in rice and wheat, increases our food grain production in our country. Particularly in rice and wheat increases our food grain production, and today we are exporting several million tons food grain to many developed and developing country. On the hand, population of our country after independence also increasing at an alarming rate of 2.5% per year. This make it a necessity that the food grains production should increase at least at the same rate or faster than the population rate. Therefore, it is the necessity of progressive farmers to apply plant breeding science techniques for the development of new high yielding varieties to meet the need of this tremendous growing population. In India, more than 70% population is depend on agriculture. However, majority of them are marginal farmers and landless labor. The input like fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides required for agriculture are expensive, and therefore farmers are looking forward for improved high yielding diseases and pest resistant and earliness varieties. Government of India also trying to make every effort after independence for increasing agricultural production. Nature of plant breeding. So here we'll see the nature of plant breeding. In short, plant breeding is an art or science, and is an old as agriculture started since man learned to cultivate the plant. In earlier days, man depends on his skills and judgment in selecting better plants. His knowledge about the plant was very limited. He knew nothing about the inheritance of characters, role of environment in producing them, and the basis of variation in various plant character. His method of selection was designed without the understanding of the principles of inheritance. Um, Therefore, during primitive time, plant breeding was largely an art, and very less science was evolved in that. But the present breeding methods are entirely based on the scientific principles of plant sciences, particularly of genetics, cytogenetics. Thus, the plant breeding uh, is purely science with very little art involved. Science is the knowledge gathered through scientific methods. The scientific methods consist of observation, formulation of hypothesis, experimentation, and conclusion, either to accept or reject the hypothesis. Plant breeding is considered as the current phase of crop evolution. As the knowledge of genetics and other related science progresses, plant breeding becomes less art and more science. Especially discovery of Mendel's works in 1900 added a lot to the knowledge of science. Selection of desirable plant even today is an art. It depends on the skills of a person, but alone skill is not enough. Modern plant breeding is based on through understanding and use of genetic principles. To be a successful, a plant breeder must know each and everything about the crop with he is working. He should have an understanding of principles of different disciplines, genetics, cytology, morphology, and taxonomy, plant physiology, plant pathology, entomology, agronomy, and soil sciences, biochemistry, statistics, and biometrics, computer and plant biotechnology. The plant breeding is an art, science, and technology of developing genetically superior plants in terms of the economics utility for the mankind. Objectives of plant breeding. So here some objectives are there for plant breeding. The prime aim of plant breeding is to improve the characteristics of plants, that they become more useful automatically and economically. Some of the objectives may be summarized as follows. So here some objectives are there. First objective is higher yield, second one is improved quality, third one is disease and pest control, fourth one is maturity duration, fifth one is agronomic characters, sixth one is photo and thermo sensitivity, seventh is synchronous maturity, eighth one is non-shattering characteristics, ninth one is determinate growth habits, 10th one is dormancy, 11 is varieties for new season, 12th one is moisture stress and salt tolerance, develop sorry 13 one is elimination of toxic substances, 14 one is wilder adaptability, 15 one is useful for mechanical cultivation, and next one is scope for plant breeding. So here some scopes are there. So here 5 scopes are there: mutation breeding, polyploidy, plant technology, in vitro techniques, and genetic engineering. So some points we'll see: genetic manipulation of population by increasing the frequency of desirable alleles in cross pollinated crops, and introducing male sterile in self pollinated crops like wheat and rice. Intensive breeding of pulses and oil seeds crops, as it was done in cereals and other crops. Proper breeding methods with improved crop management practices, use of heritability methods with improved crop management practices, development of improved high yielding varieties of vegetables and seed crops, quality improvement in oil seeds and vegetables, use of transgenic plants as a medicine, example potato, development of varieties which are desirable for mechanical threshing and cultivation. So here so this is about the scope of the plant breeding. There are some methods of plant breedings are there. So the main objective of plant breeding is to produce the new varieties which superior in all aspects than the existing one. The principal methods of principal methods of breeding self pollinated crops are introduction and acclimatization, second one is selection, third one is hybridization, fourth one is other methods, and fifth one is mutation breeding, and sixth one is polyploidy breeding. So here to this next one we'll see in next video. Thank you.